Do we have one thumbs up? Do we have two thumbs up?
We have the even more important. I can see the waves.
Oh, you can see. Oh, the waves.
I can see the waves, baby.
Peter Michaels is getting technical
the waves.
as we kick off this week's episode of The Road the Stage.
49?
Sure. It's funny because I upload it every week, and I every single week have to go to the Communal Creative Studios YouTube channel and double check to see what episode was last week.
Yeah.
And so I would know. I should know.
I post all the graphics every week.
That's true.
I type them into the thing.
That is true.
Producer Ryan, just so I found my black and white hoodie, so you don't have to look for it anymore.
You thought you left it here?
I was pretty sure because 2 weeks ago we were going to record 2 episodes in one afternoon.
Wardrobe change.
For continuity's sake, I thought might as well bring, and then it was just gone. And I just assumed it was lost in the ether here somewhere. But
thank God, because that's a nice sweater.
It's a great sweater.
It's a great sweater.
Can't live without this one.
You don't want to lose that one.
Uh-huh.
I'm currently packing up my place because on Friday I got approved for my new apartment.
So the move is going down.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was like a couple of months down the road.
Well, my landlords had given me, they give me till the end of April. So at that point when they told me it was at least 3 full months.
Yeah.
But I started searching. Like I started doing pretty heavy research, and I'm being a little picky about this place. I've been living in my current spot for almost 7 goddamn years.
You're in a pretty sweet spot.
Yes, it was very nice, very nice. However, last weekend Riley watched me try to get a cab from a venue in Red Deer to the place, and Riley can probably confirm, but I was on the phone trying to explain where I was taking the cab to my place for I felt like 10 minutes.
So new part of the city?
No, this is the same place I've been living. That's why it's not as convenient for me, is because I can't get a goddamn cab out there.
Interesting.
It's fucking bizarre.
We don't have the ride share apps here. Do we have Uber in Red Deer?
I think we have Boober, but I don't know. Have you guys used Boober before in Red Deer?
I don't know that we...
No?
Yeah.
We don't have it? We probably do. There's got to be at least one Boober driver in Red Deer.
Is there somewhere an ask in here of, hey, so I'm moving next weekend? Is that where we're going?
No, not yet.
Do I start thinking of things I'm doing for the next 3 weeks?
No, we'll see. We'll see.
How, we have a mutual acquaintance who ruined moving for me.
The moving. Because you helped to move so much?
I helped to move them, and I just, are you an organized mover? Like you said, you're packing now. So
I will
things are going to be in boxes and organized, and okay.
Yeah, it's going to be good, and I don't have to get it done on one day, which is really
Perfect.
nice, right?
Okay.
So
yeah, because this one move I helped with, and this might have been before. Yeah, this probably would have been before your time. But we showed up to help, and there was nothing packed.
Really?
Nothing. We were literally taking dishes out of cupboards and trying to find places to put them.
I'm curious. I can't wait to find out who the fuck that was. No, I if I am asking for help, because I love helping people move. I feel like I do it a lot.
Wow. Okay. That's out there in the world.
But I've never experienced.
You don't have a truck.
No, I don't. But I still offer. I still help.
Okay, good for you.
But yeah, I've never experienced that where shit isn't even packed up. That's crazy.
Not even packed. Like literally closed. The dresser's there, thinking that the drawers are empty so that it's at least a little bit lighter. No, the clothes are all still in drawers.
Bachelor?
No.
Interesting.
No.
Interesting.
No.
If I request help from some of my friends, maybe sitting at this table or in the studio, I will not put them through that. I guarantee it. And there might even be pizza, because that's what you're supposed to do when
and
what?
And
beer.
Okay, I was just gonna say we got these big brown.
Maybe it'll be from I don't know, Bo's.
All right.
Who knows?
After party at Bo's from Patrick's Move. I like it.
Yeah, the next big Red Deer event. Anyway, so yeah, that's happening, and I don't remember why I started telling you about that.
You're moving. Yeah, why did we?
I don't know, but it's happening. It's on my mind.
I'm excited to know, and I will clear my schedule just for you.
Cool, thank you. I appreciate it. It's only on the second floor too, so.
Oh, perfect.
I know.
So we just toss things up.
It's right. The place is right beside the stairwell.
Do you have a balcony?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there could be some pulley action.
We almost. I shouldn't say we almost. We did get an eviction notice just after moving in to a place because we were using the balcony to load in.
Are you
apparently,
serious?
if I had read the fine print of everything, it clearly said in there. But I'm like, what's the big deal, right? So we even stuff like a mattress. We just kind of have the mattress up and over the.
Yeah. You got evicted because of that?
We got an eviction notice the day we moved in.
So that means they give you 3 months?
No, I don't even think it was.
Not even a full month?
I don't even think it was a full month.
Holy shit, dude! That's
luckily
that's insane.
We were all radio students, so pretty good with words, and we talked our way out of it. And they let us stay.
And that's the whole fool me once, fool me twice.
Well, then
situation.
We did get the actual eviction because people were coming and going, jumping off of the
just
patio.
As I expected. Bunch of goons.
Shout out to Go Services Inc.
Shout out. What up?
Bose Barn Stage.
Yes, our good friends here, Ryan and Riley, producer, master, Supremes. At Communal Creative Studios.
About to get us into episode 40 whatever, and I'm looking forward to finding out a little bit more about a Canadian, now American.
Yeah, Jadea Kelly, who is I'm curious to find out about the whole LA Los Angeles move.
With a brief stop in Nashville.
Yeah, it seems like that's been for sure. I again, this is an artist that it's kind of weird because I've been listening to her in some form for over half of my life. And there's a question that I've always wanted to ask her.
Oh.
And I'm going to ask her that question, but I'm very, very concerned that it's going to be a case of misidentification.
That's never happened to you before, ever.
Exactly. I'm a little concerned.
Your track record is phenomenal in that department.
I'm a little concerned, so we'll see.
I look forward to this. She's got a brand new album called Roses, which was just released.
Yep, out now officially. Really, really good tunes on there. And then, she's worked on a number of projects over the years, a few here that I absolutely know you're going to be curious about. So it's going to be fun.
She's going to join us on the road, the stage.
Hi, Jada. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm Patrick Bateman. This is Peter Michaels.
Howdy.
Nice to meet you.
You as well.
Congrats on record release weekend.
Woo! I'm celebrating with all of my Rose paraphernalia.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm surprised Roses want to be anywhere near you. They're probably scared of being lit on fire.
I know. Guitars.
You can tell those petals are wilting just a touch because they know what happened to their friends.
Yeah, I'm going to dip them in gasoline and have a heyday.
Are you in LA right now?
I am. See the sunshine in the distance there?
Yeah, I'm a little jealous.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever been to Red Deer?
I feel like I've passed through.
Yeah.
I think I was, because that's in Alberta, right?
Yeah, it's like right in the middle between Calgary and Edmonton. So you've definitely passed through. Yeah,
and I think there was a time when I was opening for Royal Wood, and I feel like we played a show in Red Deer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, do you remember how long ago that would have been?
Oh, gosh, probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Right. Pre-pan.
How's the pandemic in Alberta?
I don't think it exists anymore.
It's overdone. Life is on.
Yeah, that's how America has been treating it for the past 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like I was trying to, when did you move to LA?
4 years ago.
4 years ago. Okay. So you definitely had plenty of time there before the world, stalled.
Yes. Yeah. And I thankfully had a really amazing safety raft of good friends. And so we just we just hunkered down and tried to make it as bearable as possible. We did a lot of trips together, safe trips to like Joshua Tree and
Cool.
Big Bear. And we just kind of created a bubble.
That sounds amazing. Do you have a favorite place, like those almost mythological California nature spots?
I love Big Bear.
Okay.
It feels like you're in Canada. You just drive for an hour and a half north and you're suddenly in the mountains. It feels like Whistler. It's stunning. And Joshua Tree's amazing too.
Yeah.
You can get some amazing Airbnbs there and just do a bunch of shrooms.
That does sound fun.
That's all we do out here. We just microdose on shrooms.
Yeah, we've been hearing that about California. It seems like that's an appropriate thing to do every goddamn day.
Yeah, well, how do you think I wrote this album?
Is that why you moved to California? So you could make make tech friends and start microdosing mushrooms?
They don't have shrooms in Ontario?
Well, they do, but I feel like it's not like I feel like it's part of a certain culture on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of drugs out here. But that's not the reason I moved here, I guess. I originally moved here for love, for a man.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was also writing with a lot of different people out here and producers, and I was like, why am I living in the Arctic tundra? I need to leave.
Yeah. And you did. You just got up and did it?
Yeah, I did it. I've been here for 4 years, and it's been the happiest 4 years of my life.
That's good. That's good. I saw, because you live in Highland Park, right?
Yes.
And is that always the part of LA that you've lived in?
I've lived in Westwood, which is closer to the beach. It's like near Santa Monica.
Okay.
And I've lived in Studio City, which is in the valley.
Right.
Super hot. But Highland Park is an amazing neighborhood. It's just a lot of young people, a lot of artists, a lot of great venues, record stores, coffee shops, and it's a vibe. It's nice. I really like it.
Does it remind you, like, I'm assuming you lived in Toronto proper at one point, right?
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of Roncesvalles a bit.
Yeah.
But a little dirtier. Less babies.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Well, I'm quite jealous. You're selling California.
Yeah, you guys should move here.
Weather?
I do.
Microdosing mushrooms?
My bucket list is a little further north, but I'm a big fan of the Bay Area. And there's a little town called Half Moon Bay, which is just south of San Francisco, which is phenomenal. That's the goal someday.
Yeah. Is it cheap to live there?
No, it's most certainly not cheap. That's why it'll be a long work towards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. How long have you guys lived in Red Deer?
Me, 7 years. I'm originally from Oakville.
Yeah.
Oakville. Okay, so
Yeah.
close to me, sort of. I grew up in Whitby.
Yes, I've spent a lot. My grandmother still lives in Whitby. They moved from Kingston to Whitby in the late 90s and mid 90s. So I've spent a lot of time in Whitby, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wild.
Yeah, it's which, I feel like Whitby has come up a number of times on this podcast since we started almost a year ago, right?
And Whitby and Ajax are pretty close together.
Well, is it Ajax, Pickering, Whitby, Oshawa? Is that how it works? Or Pickering?
Yep. Yeah. I was actually born in Ajax. So
okay.
Yeah, they're all pretty connected, and there's a lot of artists from Whitby. There's
tons.
Chaos is from there.
The Chastity just put out his record, which is like fucking killer. Yeah, it's I mean, wasn't Sum 41 from the Whitby area?
Sum 41 was Ajax.
And then of course another band that I'm very curious to talk to you about, Jada, which we will get to eventually.
A lot of hockey players too, as there is from pretty much every Ontario town.
Actually,
but that's I think the reason why I know Whitby. Well, Joe Nieuwendyk is from Whitby, and he was a Calgary Flame for a long time.
Yeah. I think I remember, maybe they don't have it anymore, but I remember a Welcome to Whitby sign where there was like a little home of this and that hockey player.
Really?
That would be a big sign. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I think that it makes sense that a lot of hockey players come from there, because I think Whitby was, especially when I was growing up, there were a lot of rinks, there was a lot of programs, and I think there was a lot of money. Like there were a lot of families with young boys, especially that Whitby's a more affluent area, and it's like if you're going to put your kid in hockey, you have to have a bit of money behind it.
Yeah. To
like get them to the NHL.
Yeah, 100%. Well, fuck it. Let's talk about Whitby then. We're already on it.
We're there.
So we've got a number of people in the studio that grew up listening to protest records, but that's obviously how I first started hearing about you. Was from all but 2 protest records now, right? I think yeah.
Yes.
You're on 3 records, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
So, like, I've just always been like, how did that happen? Did you guys go to high school together, or was it part of the scene?
Well, we grew up in Whitby together. We didn't go to the same high school, but I had friends at my high school were really close with protest, especially Rhodey Walker, who's the singer. And so they sent one of my demos to Rhodey when I was 15 or 16.
Okay.
Like I was the only songwriter in my high school. I was like, I'm going to be a songwriter. And protests, they were huge. They were such young prodigies. It was amazing the type of music they were making. So they were definitely a big deal. Like we would go see them at the Dungeon and in Oshawa. And so anyways, Rhodey I remember they came to play our high school, and I messaged him off of his website, and we became ICQ buddies.
Okay.
And he was just like, your voice is so beautiful. And we became really, really good friends. And so when I was 17, I became Kezia. I became the character of Kezia. And it was wild how that album blew up. Like I'll still, no matter where I play in Canada, there will always be a Protest the Hero fan at the back of the venue, at the back of the folk venue, wearing a hoodie,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll like meekly come up to me afterwards. So it's really wild because I'm not like a metal person.
Well, no, and it's I've always been curious because your solo music, the music you play, with any of the players that I've seen you play with or heard you play with in the last 15 years or so, is the complete opposite of anything Protest ever did.
It's a beautiful juxtaposition, really.
It's it's pretty wild, and like, I mean, your voice is amazing on those records, especially on Kezia. Like that's such a important record to me. That's it's cool to hear you refer to it as actually kind of playing the role of this character in this beautiful concept. It's not necessarily something that's not perspective that I had thought of before. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's. I think one of the Protest members even named their dog Kezia after the album came out. But it was definitely a concept album. Like I played the character of her.
Yeah.
And, it was an interesting period. I remember when that album came out, I was at my first year of university at U of T, and there were kids in my class wearing Kezia t-shirts. And I was like, what's going on?
And did they know? Did you keep it secret? Like, I am that person? I am the voice?
I guess people sort of knew, but I don't know.
Were you at U of T for music?
No,
Okay.
I went to get my 2 teachables. I wanted to do music. I didn't want to go to university, but I was like, you know what? I'll go to University of Toronto because they have a great music scene. They have open mics, and I built my class schedule around the open mics in the city. And I would just bike with my guitar on my back, and I would go at least 3 or 4 nights a week.
Wow.
So I didn't study music. I studied English and world religions.
Oh.
Okay.
Why?
I don't. Yeah, you're not singing about that stuff too much, from what I understand.
No, I was just like, I want to have a degree. I think my favorite part of my degree was the creative writing aspect. I think where my highest grades kind of came from. I had this one course. It was like Indigenous literature, and I had this amazing professor by the name of Lee Miracle, and I don't know. I took everything. I was in a Celtic studies program. It was just like an opportunity to grow up a bit, because I was a very naive 17-year-old. But it was at university that I met all my bandmates, my first bandmates, and then kind of started going to the Cameron House and the Dakota, and it was. I think it was a necessary step. I'm glad I had those years a little.
Yeah, and you're playing music. You just put a record, so everything worked out.
Yeah.
So 17, you get asked to be on that record. They couldn't have been much older than you at that point, right?
Yeah, we were all the same age.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy that it's crazy that they put Kezia out at that age, but even the record before that, like, I go back and listen to some, like, this is very political stuff. Very progressive political stuff at the age of like 16 or 15 or however old they were when that first record came out. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, I think it's largely too because of Riffy. He's one of the smartest kids I went to high school with RF.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, he's just a brilliant mind, and I don't even think he's living in Canada anymore.
Oh, really? I was curious what he's up to.
Yeah, he moved away and he's making amazing music.
Like orchestral kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like, I'll have to send you some links to that, but he's just such a prolific mind.
Very, very smart.
Were you worried at all when they first got you involved in that it was like, so it sounds like you weren't into metal at the time, or were you? Did you listen at all?
No.
Yeah, so were you worried, like, what am I doing in this world?
Oh God, it was nerve-wracking. I had such stage fright, and so I would do these tiny tours with them in Ontario or, in Toronto, and I'd go on stage to sing my parts and just shake like a leaf the whole time.
I didn't realize you actually played some of those shows. That sounds, well, obviously terrifying.
Yeah, for a 16-year-old that's grown up listening to Shania Twain. will say Rhodey equally loves New Country, so maybe it's, yeah. I was just such a shy kid, but that really was a really healthy thing for me to bring me out of my comfort zone and learn to be in front of all of these crazy moshing kids.
Yeah. I'm sure the shows that you ended up playing under Jadea Kelly were a lot different.
Yes, there's no moshing at my show.
Is there anything that you like? Do you if you listen back to those recordings all those years ago, are you totally comfortable and confident with what you laid down back then
on the protest albums?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love listening to Kezia, especially. It just brings back so many memories of
Right.
these audiences singing every single word. It was a really special random time in my life, and sometimes I'll have people come up to me even here in LA. Like there was a kid that tracked in a shopping mall, and he was like, "Excuse me, are you Kezia?"
That's so crazy. That's so crazy.
I was like, "What?" Yes.
Yeah, because Rhodey's voice, his vocals have, I think, evolved quite a bit since then. I think he probably had to make some major changes for preservation, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't. I don't feel the same way about your vocal stylings at all. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's I listen back to my voice on those albums too, and I feel like I sound like a baby, like a
Okay.
little girl. But yeah, I sound raspier now.
Well, and now, like we said, Roses is out, and we both had some time with it. I think we received an advance copy.
Yeah.
A few weeks
definitely
back.
Had a few listens of it because it just so we're recording on Sunday. It just came out, I guess, 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So how does it feel having that out in the world?
Oh my God, it feels amazing. I've just jumped out of my bed on the release morning and had a bunch of friends over, just blew up a bunch of pink balloons, and we all toasted it and danced to it in my living room. I just feel a lot of joy and gratitude, and it's been 4 years making this thing, and I wanted to take my time with it, and I can now die a happy woman.
So what role did the pandemic play? Was there any delay because of the pandemic, or was always the plan to release in 2022?
I definitely was hoping to release it 3 years ago.
Okay. It wasn't meant to be a 4-year project.
No, I guess when I moved here to LA, I made the conscious decision to put music on the back burner a bit and just finish this album at my own pace and take care of myself first, because I think for the past 10 years of touring and being a musician, I've always put music first, and I've sacrificed, groceries and rent and therapy. So I wanted to take some time here in LA just to write with different people and experiment with different producers and put my own needs first and just live my life outside of music, just to get in touch with who I am outside of music. And I really feel like this album represents that journey of health and returning to like a more conscious, balanced state.
With these musicians that you were, taking your time, pacing yourself, dealing with all the personal stuff that you're trying to explore and figure out, how are you connecting with these musicians on the West Coast? Are they already connections that you've made over the years?
Yeah, these are people that I met about 5 years ago. I would do these trips down here, and I'd have like 7 days with 7 different producers, and largely those are the people that I'm still writing with, and those are the people that produced part of the album. But the great thing too is that I was able to return to Toronto to make a majority of the album with my old bandmates and my friends that I came up with, and that felt really comfortable. It felt very full circle to write the album in the States, have that exploratory time here, and return home to make it with my friends. And I'm really happy that it worked out that way.
So you talked about taking some time away from music and kind of focusing on that stuff. Would you say, is it more therapeutic taking that time off and away from the music, or is the music the result of that therapeutic time, or is the music the therapy?
I think, yeah, the process of making it and taking my time with it was a lesson. It was a lesson to put myself first and to choose myself every day. And that was a very valuable lesson for me, because I think that will translate to a lot of areas of my life for the rest of my life. And I've heard this from a lot of artists during the pandemic. A lot of artists are speaking up about prioritizing their mental health and prioritizing their basic needs, and realizing that success and making music is not the most important thing in the world. And I think that's what I've learned from the pandemic and from this album, is that the number one most important thing is me, and it's my family, and me making more time for that instead of sacrificing everything in my life just to do a tour. And some of the most beautiful memories of my life have been from touring and seeing the world. But yeah, it's been such therapy making the album. It's been a joy to make this album, and it's sort of hard to let go of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, it's my baby. I felt some sadness the other day. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to share this yet. I don't want to let go of it. This has been my purpose for a really long time, just sculpting this really precious thing. So yeah, I don't know if that answered the question, but
Yeah, for sure.
Bit of a mix. But
Yeah,
you're not ready to move on. Like, we've talked to so many artists who are just like, oh God, we finished this 2 years ago. It's
ready to get
fucking
on to the
out
next,
now.
Let's get on to the next one.
Yeah. You're not there.
yeah. Well, it's comforting to hear that other artists are feeling that, because yeah, it's my friends of mine that have released albums during the pandemic. It's been so sad to watch the rollout, because everything's been so paused.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm honestly, I'm enjoying everyone enjoying it, but I am ready to make something new. I'm ready to jump into the next thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. And you're going to do it still in LA?
I think so, yeah, as long as they don't kick me out.
We won't say anything.
How long did it take you to feel like do you feel like a local now? Like, do you,
Yeah.
it totally feels like home, for sure?
Is anyone actually a
Well,
local
I
in
guess
LA,
that's
though?
probably a good point.
Yeah, everyone here is kind of a transplant. It's I definitely get called out on my Canadian accent every single goddamn day.
Really?
Oh yeah, out and about. That's the one I get called out on a lot. Out.
Yeah, that's man. We gotta go to California. How about we do that, Pete?
Next
Yeah,
time,
you know what?
next part 2 of the interview, we'll come down and we'll do it in person down there.
I was reading an article where I think it was Eat North was asking you for your recommendations for food spots in your neighborhood or in LA.
Yeah.
And they all sounded amazing, and it's no surprise that LA is full of an amazing culinary scene. But is there something you do in California when you're homesick? You go to the Canadian Embassy, or is there like
There's no Timmy's.
Oh my gosh. You know what I do? Is the weather here is just so beautiful. There's so many elements of California that I love, but I actually do get homesick a lot.
Yeah.
And so when I am homesick, the best thing for me to do is just go to a live concert. I usually go to the Hotel Cafe. That's where I've met all my friends, all my songwriter buds. That's really where everyone has come up here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, whenever I'm feeling homesick, I'll go see a show. Or my favorite place to see concerts here is the Greek Theater. I saw Brandi Carlile at the Greek Theater.
Wow.
That was unreal. I was crying. It was so good. Other than that, I just find nature. It's so easy to go for a beautiful hike here, or go to the ocean, go to the mountains.
I was just going to say, it's probably a little difficult looking at the Pacific Ocean and trying to picture Lake Ontario instead. Like,
I know.
You just probably can't get that vision.
No, I'm learning to be in the ocean. I think I'm used to just slowly wading out,
Yeah.
interacting with a loon or two, and
thinking about pollution.
back in. Yeah, that's how I face my homesick vibes. I just go peacefully sit in nature or go to a show.
Have you been to any shows recently?
No, I've been still kind of apprehensive to go out in large groups.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, that's a lie. I went to see Casey Musgraves.
Oh, cool. Would have been just a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
I think she canceled her Toronto show, if I'm not mistaken.
She did. Yeah.
Saw many disappointed Instagram messages about that, I think.
I know. Yeah, she's one of my number ones. That was so beautiful to see her perform.
And where was that?
It was at the Staples Center downtown.
Okay, so that was a big show.
Yes.
Huge show. Who's opening for Casey Musgraves on her tour?
You know what? I'm a bad concert goer, and I didn't go for the opener. I was just in Casey mood. So
it's all good. And then any shows you've got lined up for the future coming up?
Yeah, so we're gonna do an album release here in LA.
Right on.
And it's gonna be virtually streamed for all my Canadian friends and family. But we're gonna do that at the Desert 5 spot. It's this great new venue. It's on like the rooftop of a hotel. And I'm I'm pretty excited about that because I haven't performed with a band in probably 3 years.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
When's that show?
April 6th.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, so it'll be made virtual for everybody.
And how much rehearsal goes into because again, these songs have been around for a while, but you haven't had a chance to play them probably live at all, really?
Yeah, I've really, if I have played them live, it's usually just been me acoustically. But yeah, it's a whole different realm. Making the album is one thing, but learning how to play it live is entirely different. So I did buy a red power suit though, so that's taken care of. I'm gonna wear a red floral power suit like jacket, so that's taken care of.
And burning roses on the stage?
Yes, obviously.
Okay, good.
Wow, that sounds incredible.
Which for anybody that doesn't know, I don't know if you watched the video for roses, but yes, there's a lot of roses.
Where was that filmed?
So all the videos were filmed in my parents' property in Ontario.
Oh, okay, cool.
My grandpa has a farm there, and we have a little cottage. So my friend Gail came up from Montreal, and we filmed everything. And I'm so happy with how those videos turned out.
Is it all out there? Is there anything still waiting to be released, or?
There's a few videos in the works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. And then, so you're doing this album release show in LA. Do you have plans to travel north of the border at all, or tour north of the border?
Yes, actually. So I'm going to be touring in Ontario and Quebec probably the end of September.
Cool.
And we're going to go over to Europe mid-August. The whole tour I'll be doing with my friend Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah.
And I do want to head west. I'm taking this tour very carefully because I don't know what everything's going to look like in September, but I would love to come back to Alberta. I really would.
You've done the Calgary Folk Festival at least
sure,
once,
in Edmonton,
right? Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, the Interstellar Rodeo.
Right.
And that. But yeah, I don't know how many times I've played the Ironwood. It's yeah, we used to tour in Alberta quite a bit. We did a lot of house concerts through there in my early years.
It's funny because we had Jess from Sweet Alibi on the show 2 months ago, something like that, just around the time of the release of their record. And
nice.
We realized that they have played Red Deer, and it was they've done a number of house shows from this local promoter in town.
Oh yes, yeah.
Which have you been there as well? No, you've played with Sweet Alibi though, right? Were you like?
Yeah, those girls are my tour sisters.
Okay.
My squirrel sisters. They we toured together as like a co-headline act for probably 2 years.
Just doing your own separate things, or were you performing with them for their songs as well?
No, we did like two separate.
Okay.
At the time, we had the same management, and so we went to Europe together. And really, that was the last time I toured, was with them in Europe, probably 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're hilarious and crazy.
Yeah, Jess was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
good.
That's a killer album too.
Oh yeah, I love their new album.
Yeah, it's very good. So yeah, you said you had the same manager. Is that how you guys got connected, or?
Yeah, and they would come to Toronto a lot, and Amber and I specifically, we really are extra crazy together, and we're a dangerous combination.
Mushrooms have nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Only in California. Only in California.
Yeah.
Do you?
Trying to convince them to come visit.
Yeah. Have you've been to many thrift stores with them? I'm assuming on tour.
Oh yes, Jess's suitcase on tour is a sight to see. It's unnecessarily huge. I don't understand.
We got a tour of a couple of items during that episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was pick up the camera and show us what's on the wall. The many things on the wall.
Yeah, it's like really on tour, you want to travel as light as you can. Maybe 2 black dresses and a pair of pants.
And a red power suit.
Maybe some underwear, but she brings everything she owns, and it's really it hurts all of us. It really impacts all of us.
I believe it. I wonder if we went on tour, who would pack more? What do you think? Do you pack light?
Very light.
Like for holidays, for family vacations and stuff?
If I go somewhere for like 4 or 5 days, backpack is all I need.
All right. That's going to be a challenge. We're gonna compete.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
So 4 years ago, I think it was 4 years ago, you did the Tom Petty, Canada covering Tom Petty.
Yes.
Which obviously means you're a fan. So I'm curious, have you done the vampire walk down Ventura Boulevard?
I used to live just off of Ventura Boulevard.
Yeah.
But is there a specific?
Well,
yeah.
So this is. They did it just shortly after he passed away, and I thought it was going to become an annual event. So this is maybe something to just put in the back pocket. Maybe this is something you could fire up down there. But they did a tribute, right? Because there's the line from the song about the vampires living in Reseda. So there was a tribute, and people dressed up as vampires and walked along Ventura Boulevard, which I think would have been, it might have been even on the first anniversary of his death shortly after. But it was a tribute to Tom. And as far as I could see, it was only done the one time. But I'm like, well, that would be a good annual event to get going.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Oh my God, I need to look into that immediately. Finally, a second occasion to wear my vampire costume.
Yeah. So are you familiar with that project then?
I wasn't until I just started doing some homework, but I'm glad I found it.
Pete's a big Petty fan.
Absolutely love Petty. And I will say, not blowing smoke, but your version of Wildflowers
He hates covers too. Fucking hates covers.
I hate covers. And I love, and we'll dig into a few that you've done because I love the way that you do them. It's not just it's just not a straight up copy of, it's going to be pretty tough to top what Tom Petty had done, right?
No one will top him.
So you got to put your own spin on it. So I went through and listened to, I forget the lady who did Walls, but the version of Walls that was done as well as, that's
Molly Brown.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love the covers that everyone did, but Molly just completely knocked it out of the park. She lives in Nashville, but she's maybe from Alberta as well. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Molly Brown.
Yeah, incredibly well done.
So how did you, it says that you spearheaded that project, right?
Oh yeah.
Can you explain the process? What exactly does that mean from your perspective?
Well, I had done my Wildflowers cover with my LA partner at the time, and I was like, what would be amazing is if we got a bunch of Canadians to also cover Tom Petty. And so it just started growing. Every single person I reached out to, whether it was Tara Lightfoot, Matt Mays, the Slow Can Ramblers, everyone just said yes, we will do a cover at their own expense. And so it ended up being maybe 19 or 20 songs of people just donated their time. And we did 2 concerts at the Dakota, and they were both packed. They sold out within hours. And there were just diehard Tom Petty fans with Petty t-shirts right at the front row. And it was such a beautiful night. The Black Pearls were the house band, and everyone was so present, so there. Everyone was just trying to remember and honor the life of one of the greatest songwriters of our time. So I do want to do more. I want to do more of these tribute albums, even if they're just playlists. I I sort of currently have the dream to do a Canada Covers Linda Ronstadt, which is my next thing. So yeah, I just think it's fun. It's fun just to mess around and bring people together in that way.
And where did the love of Petty come from? Or do you...
Well, my parents never really listened to Petty as a kid. We were mostly a country household, a lot of folk and country. It was more when I started touring. A lot of my bandmates were obsessed, and I don't know. Walls, like you mentioned, is especially one of maybe the best songs that's ever been written. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Were your parents musical?
Not really. They definitely love music and support it. Same with my grandpa and my grandma. They paid for all my guitar lessons, my fiddle lessons. But it was always country.
Mm-hmm.
Like my parents are farmers. There's been 3 generations of cattle farmers from where I'm from. And I don't know, it's weird that I'm so like.
Well, you not coming, from a musical, like a family that likes music, obviously, but nothing with, musical skill necessarily, to being the only musician in your high school. It seems pretty rare. Seems rare.
Yeah, I guess, there's no one in my family that was doing it. And I meet other songwriters that grew up in musical households.
Mm-hmm.
Like my friend Zoe Sky Jordan, her parents are Mark Jordan and Amy Sky. And I'm like, what was that like? Growing up with music around all the time and growing up in the industry, because I had no idea what the industry was. I was just trying to feel my way around in the dark. And I look at my friend Zoe, or even her partner, Liam Titcombe, his parents were folk musicians. And I'm like, that must have been so useful to be acknowledged as a songwriter, because I just always instinctively knew, yes, I'm a songwriter, yes, I'm an artist. And but it wasn't until I moved to Toronto that I started meeting other artists and being like, oh, you're like me.
Right.
So did you have anybody like when was the first moment you kind of noticed, like, hey, I think I've got something here? Was there somebody that noticed you singing somewhere and like, wow, that voice is pretty, or did it just happened?
Well, I think from my mom always said that I was singing before I was talking. I remember just I was always singing. I'm still always singing. But there were a number of people in my grade school. I had this really great drama teacher named Mr. Headley, and he was the first person that noticed my voice because I was very shy. But I guess from a young age, I was always writing little poems and singing and just studying Shania Twain lyrics. And
do you remember your first performance?
My first performance was probably at my church.
Okay.
Because I was in choir,
Mm-hmm.
but we used to have these annual coffee house performances. So I went up and performed with my guitar teacher. And
what did you perform?
The song was called "It's Better to Be With You," and I'm pretty sure it was written about my guitar teacher's son.
Okay. Oh, it's an original.
An original.
Awesome. Right.
I'm pretty sure that's the reason I kept going for guitar lessons, is because this boy would just be shirtless playing basketball exactly at the time that I arrived every Tuesday, and I just was a mess of hormones every single week.
So you wrote a song that you think is about your guitar teacher's son and performed that song live with your guitar teacher.
Yeah, at my church.
Wow, that's incredible.
I think his son is actually he's a musician as well, and I've told him the details of this, and he thinks it's hilarious.
That's pretty good. Well, I've been wanting to ask you a question for a number of years, and I'm gonna get it over with because I'm afraid I'm wrong. All right, and I really fucking hope I'm not wrong. But when I first started listening to whatever, because I protest all that kind of music, I also had access to some of your solo music at the time. I don't know where I got it from. It could have been a friend. Did you have a song with cigarette in the title?
Yes.
Fuck yes. Can I please have that song? Do you have that song still?
Oh man.
Because it's nowhere. Like, you can't find it.
That's wild because you know what? Someone ordered that CD or reached out about that CD this week, and I was like, Mom, Dad, can you go look in the barn? Is there?
Oh my God.
It was you, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. But now I think I probably should. What was that? Was it a full album or was it an EP?
There were two EPs, one that I made when I was 15. And I think what happened is back in the ICQ 10 days, people were just kind of sending it around.
Yeah.
And the first EP was called Better to Be With You. It had a big broken heart on the center, on the cover. And then there was another EP called Downwave.
Downwave?
Yeah, and they each had about 5 songs on them. There's got to be copies in some toolbox somewhere in the barn.
Oh man, I can't believe it. I've you have no idea how many times over the years I've searched Jadea Kelly Cigarette
Really?
to try to find that song because I used to listen to that all the time. What was the song called? It wasn't called Cigarette.
I wonder. God, my brain. I really should be better about.
It was a long time ago.
These things.
It's a long time ago.
We're gonna need to unearth these for the 20th anniversary
it's not
editions.
even.
Is that what it?
It's not even on Discogs.
Wow.
It's nowhere. I
deep.
Cannot find it anywhere.
Man, there were so many early songs that I used to do. There's just boys at my school who had their parents had makeshift studios.
Mm-hmm.
There's this one kid, Paul McManus, that went to my school, and so he used to record all my songs, and I think he's the one that sent them to protest. He was the one that was sending them to everyone on MSN.
Okay.
But yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to look into that today. I'm going to message Bernie and Lori and see if they can rummage it up in the barn.
That would be incredible. It was so long ago that I know I had it on my iPod Classic, but I also think I had it on my RCA Lyra, that little shitty blue MP3 player. That's
wild.
I know.
Wait, okay, so are we roughly the same age? What year were you born?
91.
91. Okay, so you're my brother's age, my younger brother.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was trying to figure out how I even got it, but I'm assuming it just came from a friend who plays music in Toronto right now, who kind of got me hooked on protest and was like, "Oh yeah, you like that voice on Kezia? Well, here's the solo stuff." So I don't know. Maybe he bought the CD at the time. I mean, we were 14, 15 years old. We weren't torrenting it. Maybe could you download songs off MySpace? I don't know.
Oh my God, I wonder if my MySpace still exists.
I don't think it does because I've looked.
Patrick's exhausted every avenue except for the barn.
I kid you not. I search up goddamn this song every fucking 2 years. I swear to God.
I'm so sorry. Wait, you know what my MySpace used to be? It was myspace.com/JadaK.
Okay. When did you start using the Darth Jada moniker?
Oh, I think that was my bandmates. They jokingly started calling me Darth, and not because I'm evil, but I think just as a joke. So that's been going on for about 8 years, and I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I generally just confused everyone, but I've sold a lot of the t-shirts.
That's true. Those are still for sale on your website, I believe.
Did you look into did you worry about copyright? Did you look into all that stuff at all, or did you just go for it?
Oh, I just went for it.
Atta girl.
I think when I created my darthjada.com domain, GoDaddy.com called me. They're like, "Excuse me, ma'am, we just wanted to confirm your website choice." I was like, "Yep, no, that's what I want."
That's some of the experience and knowledge that you may have gained if you had industry parents, right?
Yes, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a benefit to not knowing anything. I'd like to pretend that that's the truth.
But I think you did early on. You worked at 6 Shooter Records early on, did you not?
Yeah. So when I graduated from university, I just plunged into everything. I was working as an intern at 6 Shooter. I was an assistant to Shakura Saida. She's a blues singer. And I worked at a publicity company and worked at Roy Thompson Hall. I was trying to learn as much as I could and just plunge in and immerse myself. But that was so helpful. Just the artists that have come out of Six Sugar Records and the women that run it. It's pretty inspiring.
It's wild. Yeah, we've had a number of their artists on the show already, and every few weeks I'll go look at their lineup. I'm like, oh God, like just need to try to talk to every single one of these people.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty cool vibe over there for sure.
Yeah, people like, I don't know if Justin's still with him, but when I was coming up, it's like White Horse and Justin Rutledge and Martin Tielli, and just good stuff.
Fuck, I can't believe I got the answer I've been
I'm
looking for all these years. I'm in
Because
shock.
trust me, he's tried this on a few other episodes and
Fucking fails.
fallen flat on his face and didn't quite remember things the way he thought he did.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty monumental
This is
moment.
huge. This is huge.
I feel like the 14-year-old boy inside of you is just finally be happy again, you know?
Like I can picture looking at that song on a screen on my walk to and from school.
Really?
That's how. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So no pressure on your parents, but I would very much appreciate.
You're on the next flight
to rural Ontario. Yeah.
And going to go through that barn.
Going to Durham County, baby.
Oh my God. If you did just show up at the farm, they'd be like, come on in.
Wow, that's crazy. All right. So it was success today. I was super worried about it, but we're good. We're good.
All right. Good. I'm proud.
Well, and now we've got this new record to listen to, and hopefully in the next little while we'll be able to catch you either in Calgary or Edmonton or somewhere close by.
I want to dig into one of the other talents, which I think is absolutely amazing as well, is the stained glass.
Are you still doing that?
Is that still a thing?
Yeah. I don't have as much time for it as I used to, but yeah, I love glass art. I've funded the past 2 albums largely through glass orders. So
wow.
And then my latest thing is that I've been taking old recycled instruments like banjos, guitars, violins, and cellos, and I'll remove the face of the instrument and I'll replace it with a glass face, with a design, and it turns into a lamp. So I'll put lighting inside. So that's been the fun thing to do, just to have a separate artistic vibe outside of music.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
That violin is so
amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
And where are you doing that? Have you got like a separate studio that you do that at, or can you do it all at home?
Yeah, I do it at home. At my last apartment, I was doing it in the closet, but in my little closet. But now I just do it out on my patio, and it's lovely.
Oh, that's
be
amazing.
in the sunshine, making my glass art.
Yeah, soaking up that California air, baby. Pete, what you got? Anything else, man?
Last thing, because we touched on it with the covers a little bit as well. So the Tom Petty cover is amazing. How do you go in tackling a song like Amazing Grace, which is just right, like monster of its own? How do you go in with headspace to do that?
Well, I don't think I wouldn't have done it had it not been for the documentary that it was placed in. But the director of this film, she specifically wanted Amazing Grace, and I was like, that's a hefty song. There's like a million people that have covered it, but I ended up finding an old Willie Nelson version of it that had the minor key progression, and I was like, ooh, I like that. So that's sort of where it stemmed from. And I was in Nashville at the time, and the whole team, we kind of we came together on it. That my producer, he owns a studio with Journey, and so he has access to every of microphone, all the types of gear, and he ended up having this like 1930s vinyl cutter, and so we ended up tracking it through that, and so it ended up sounding old because of the way that we recorded it, and it's not something we would have been able to fund on our own. We obviously, the documentary gave us money to do this, so it was fun.
So
it was
like the 19, like you're recording straight onto a vinyl record. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think the way the guy who did it is David Kalmusky. we recorded it naturally,
Mm-hmm.
like with modern equipment, and then I wish he was on this call. It was all very technical, but I think he ended up, oh, you know what, I'm not going to do this justice, but there was a vinyl cutter involved. That's all I can say.
All right. Well, it worked.
We're gonna have to bring our call a friend segment into the show. Yeah. Wow, that sounds amazing. So, and this is for Met While Incarcerated.
Yes, yeah, it was on the documentary channel on CBC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get to talk to any of those? Like, I haven't seen it. I don't know much about it, but the concept is pretty wild. Follows
Very
like
wild.
I think is it three people who fall in love with currently imprisoned people who are about to get out? Is that how it works, or they're like?
Yeah, I think when they started the documentary, there were about 6 people, and during the course of filming it, 3 of them broke up.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know if it's the wisest choice to get involved with a man who's on death row, but a lot of the women that were involved in the documentary were really touched by the music and reached out to me about it, and it's it was wild. It was wild to learn about that type of love and to love someone despite them having murdered someone. Yeah. That's a deep love.
And the relationships all happened after they were incarcerated, right? Like it's not like they were in a relationship while it happened. They fell in love after they.
Yeah, it was like it started off as just letters and then turned into love. And honestly, if you want a committed, faithful man, that's the way to go.
So, okay. Oh man. Okay, so I'm assuming I should watch it, but how do these women find these men? Is it because they're infamous to a certain degree? Like a Charlie Manson type, like all these women and men like messaging Charlie Manson for the last, 40 years, 45 years. Well, I guess not recently, because they were somewhat in love with him. Is that kind of how it works?
I think for some of them, the connection was created through some type of church outreach program.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Where it was like, we're going to write letters to these inmates to help them return to God or find some type of peace with
reform
their past transgressions. And then I guess the relationships grew, and I don't think any of these particular inmates were super famous for the shit they did, but
have you tried it?
If I do end up doing it, please come and find me and rescue me.
Do you
microdosing? It wasn't microdosing that day, probably, is the
no. The only way that'll happen is if microdosing.
Do you know one of Red Deer's fun little secrets with incarcerated dudes?
You're scaring me a little bit.
No,
what do you mean?
It's not far from. We
got a big prison to the south of us. That's what you're talking about.
The remand. Well, there's the remand center is just a couple blocks away from where we are right now.
Okay, yeah.
And at almost any given time, I guarantee you go walk down the sidewalk in front of the remand right now, and you can see the bars and the windows where the people incarcerated can look out. Their girlfriends write notes on the sidewalk in chalk.
That's cute.
Really?
100%. They pass messages to them on the. I don't know that they're all cute. Actually,
the messages?
I can tell you that not all of them are cute, but there are messages being passed back and forth.
Like pretty extreme graphic chalk drawings? Is that what you're talking about?
There can be some of that. The rumor is that sometimes and I haven't witnessed this myself, but sometimes you don't want to be walking with children down the sidewalk when the girls are there writing the notes, because there's also just some things.
There's a show. There's
a bit of a show that goes with it as well, but 100%. We'll go down there. We'll take some pictures.
Well, we should go down and advertise the podcast to the inmates.
Oh my Lord.
All right, so you haven't tried
the
Met While Incarcerated route for your own love life yet?
No, I don't even want to. I don't try anything. I just
move across the continent. That's
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That's great. Well, I'm very curious in that movie. We should watch that movie.
Definitely.
We should do it together.
Okay.
All right.
I'm in. We'll pack lightly while we.
Yes, we'll compete to see who's going to pack less for a 7-day trip, and we'll watch that documentary. It sounds like a great plan.
And then come to California, of course, at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm in. You don't have
to microdose.
Don't have to ask me twice.
Well, Jada, is there anything you'd like to add in the wake of your album release?
I guess that I am just tickled pink and so grateful that it's done and that everyone's enjoying it. So that's all I have to say.
All right. Well, congrats on the release, and thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Go get some of that California sun.
I will.
All right. Peace out. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
We need to go to California now. You can't tease me with let's go to California.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm ready.
It'll happen. I mean, you only go there like once every 13 months.
Maybe a trip planned.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, very
I
nice.
think we're going in June or July.
But how are you going to go if there's no baseball?
Well, that is thanks for
Is it actually
thanks for bringing that up.
Are they actually not playing baseball this year?
As of right now, you know what? Honestly, this is shades of, and I'm sure you remember 2005 with the NHL lockout.
Yeah.
Shades of the same thing. I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't get fixed.
And the disagreement is in money that the players are receiving, or like what's the big beef?
It's all over the place. But the tax threshold which baseball has, and the inner operations of the business side of baseball, I try not to get too involved in because it's essentially the tax threshold is like a cap. Obviously, the players don't want the cap.
Yeah.
The MLB wants to expand the playoffs to 14 teams. The players don't want that at all because then that's mediocre teams. You don't have to push as hard to get in.
Yeah.
So they're far apart on a lot of different areas. And one of the big things too is what younger players. So a lot of the older players would be like, we're sorry to the fans, but we're trying to do this for the future of the game and the future players that are coming up. So getting young players in and paid a little bit faster as well. And
these fuckers don't earn enough standing around for 5 hours a day?
Nope, apparently not.
Unbelievable.
Team owner then, are you? All right, okay.
All right, so that was Jadea Kelly, and I can't tell you how happy I am that the memory I have was right.
You got it, yes. We should, you know what, we'll do a full episode at one point with all of Patrick's
well, I was wrong with the beaches.
Memories. The beaches was definitely one.
I wasn't wrong, but I was remembering it differently.
Wrong person.
Yeah.
Which was episode 6. So go back and I don't know why I remember that all of a sudden, but it.
There
got it wrong in episode 6.
There's at least one other,
there
right?
There was one other one for sure.
Do you remember who?
Nope, I can't.
Was it embarrassing?
Not as bad as the beaches.
Okay.
The beaches was good.
Because
the person you thought was the person.
Yeah, it was
on the episode and.
I can't tell you how nervous I was to ask that because it is it's not a great thing to learn that your 15-year-old memory is not right at all. You know what I mean?
And it was completely and that's and again to bring up that you are completely enamored with this song and you want to find it so desperately bad, but it's not hers. Oh,
yeah, it would have been.
Well, I'm sure you've got great songs that are worth finding.
It's funny that Jada didn't even remember the title of the song.
No,
I just know "Cigarette" is in the title. God damn it! One day I will hear it again, and it will be fantastic.
Yeah, and her new album, I definitely cannot recommend enough. Go and check out Roses. There's a tune on there called Pitch Black, which does it's the song on the album that's really got some pretty cool petty vibes to it for sure. I think that you can really hear that petty influence. And 1,000% check out the Canada covers petty because there's some very, very good covers. And like you said, I hate covers.
Yeah.
There's some really, really good stuff on there.
I find that this new Roses album is pretty diverse. Sound wise
100%. And I was going to bring it up with her too, but there's a couple of spots where, and I'm happy to hear that she did kind of grow up country and the Shania influence, but there's a couple of spots in a few songs where if you just change the kind of the keys or the whatever that's going on and put in like a pedal steel in it, it's 1,000% a full-blown country song.
Right.
So, but yeah, very diverse album. Her voice, I was also going to say it too, but I didn't want to. There's a couple of times where she's very reminiscent of Casey Musgraves. I actually thought of Casey Musgraves a couple of times.
And did you get to check out any of her vocals on the protest stuff?
I 1,000% did that as well.
Wild shit, man.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, that was a bucket list interview for me.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
So thanks for hanging out. Who else is hanging out, Peter Michaels?
Of course, our good friends at Go Services Inc.
What up?
Bo's Bar and Stage. Make sure you go and follow them on their social medias and give them
show
some likes and
after
follows
show after show after show.
Lots of great things going on.
Yeah, it's been You went to a show on Friday, right?
Saw a show on Friday, which was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Good to be back in front of just to be in front of it again.
Yeah,
so
it's nice.
You bring up like baseball's an escape for me. I love watching baseball to just kind of. But now at least the live music portion is back, and it's just good for the soul.
Well, you know what you can start watching instead of baseball? Formula One, baby.
Didn't the
Less
season
than 2
just
weeks.
Didn't it just end?
Yeah, but you don't need much of a break.
I guess.
They
don't
don't
have to rebuild all those cars.
No. Oh, yeah. No, it's totally new this year.
O-rings getting changed out.
All of them, new cars, new regulations. It's going to be fantastic.
All right, I'll take your word.
So check it out. And shout out to our home, Communal Creative Studios, producers Ryan and Riley. Hard at work. Oh, there's Cornbread. I forgot. Pete brought Cornbread.
Thumbs up on the Cornbread? Yeah? All right. Okay.
You ever hear the Dave Matthews Band song Cornbread?
No.
I think you might like it, actually.
I have to go check
it out. All right. When are we?
Let's get the team back together.
Yeah.
Next.
Wednesday.
The Road the Stage is produced by Ryan Kuly and Riley Sur-Yin at the Communal Creative Studios in Red Deer, Alberta. In partnership with Go Services Inc., Sawback Brewing Co., Tourism Red Deer, and Beau's Bar and Stage.